Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're out on a little ride on the 2020 Africa Twin. We are at least thinking about doing some sort of review on this thing. As you can see, I've got almost 7,000 miles on her. Been a great year so far of ownership. Nothing's gone wrong on it or anything. To start, I figured we would just do a little riding pavement first, and then where I'm headed, it'll transition to dirt road here pretty soon. Anyway, down here is a neat little place that I discovered while I was enduro riding a couple years ago. And the cool thing about adventure riding is it's basically enduro riding with a little longer legs. So, you know, you can take off, you can go longer distance, but you can still do pretty much the same stuff unless you're really riding pretty hard enduro. Current status of things, so the bike is just about ready for this trip I'm doing here in a few weeks, and I'm looking forward to filming on that trip and maybe sharing that with you guys too. So she's ballsy. Yeah, definitely started riding with the traction control off recently. This is far too slow to really demonstrate that at all, but man, it's so much better without a computer between you and the road. So I'm definitely gonna be playing around with this, getting used to it, but for the most part I've really enjoyed it so far. Just to give you an idea, here's that traction light off, the HSTC Honda Sense traction control, Honda Safe, I don't know what it is. Anywho, it's off at the moment, so it takes pretty much nothing to slide out. I'm hoping to go down that road where I know it's going to be a little quieter since it's a little longer off of the paved road and people are less likely to be out there. So the water's up quite a bit. Wow. Wow. I think that may be the highest I've seen it up here. It's kind of surprising. I did not expect that. Before long you have to turn around anyway. But this is definitely the highest water level I've seen at this spot. Yeah, look at that. Usually you can go from here, you can go all the way out to the farthest grass you see there, and that's all drivable. But obviously this is basically a giant marsh. Killed her. Generally you can hang a left here and go down, I don't know, probably 400 feet, but yeah, no way today. That's crazy. Alright, well, let's go see what there is up here, farther up that road. Squirrel! Got the new rear tire on, which it was in the last video I put up. That was the Moto Z Ral Z rear tire, and boy, it sure changes this thing off-road. I've got so much more confidence in the rear wheel now. Basically what comes on it is like a 60-40 street, so you don't really have a great feel for how much traction you have, which is why I felt like I had to ride with traction control. But now there's much less I don't know, you just feel so much more connected to the road. Right now we're, probably 10 miles north of Pasco. This is the Columbia River here. Up here on the right somewhere, here before too long, there's like a little farmer access road. And if you go up that way, there's some cool irrigation. I don't know if they're aerating the water or what, but they've got the water in a series of like little waterfalls and some concrete channels. And that's a neat little spot, kind of check out. I think this is it. Oh yeah, check it out. Yeah, so we'll go up here a little bit. She's squirrely. The long distance you can get away with on this while still being able to take off on these little dirt trails and really I mean, if you know how to ride, you could ride pretty much anywhere you set your mind on going, but it's a little trickier when you start getting into the tough stuff. Like for example, I went up a hill that I thought I could get up, and I just, at the time I was riding with the slicked rear, and the traction control was just killing my power. I could not get up this little hill, steep hill, but that was fine. You know, normally you can just kind of lock the front and walk her back, but with the front end being the only thing that had bite, and then the weight of the bike plus the gear from my camping trip I was on, man, it was all I could do to keep it upright as I slid backwards down a hill. Luckily I did manage to keep it upright, knock on whatever woods are around here, since this thing has now got almost 7,000 miles and it's never touched the ground. But we'll see. You know, I'm not trying to baby it to the ends of the earth. I'm riding it, so someday it's gonna go down. Yeah, this is just a neat little area back in here. There's some like vineyards, if I remember correctly, and obviously all these little waterfalls headed up this route. Kind of neat. I don't know if it's, ooh, let's not play get wet today. All right. This is a neat little spot. Nice big old spider webs going through. One of these days I want to make a video about riding technique, because I think a lot of people they stop getting better at riding because of some fears that they have. Well, that generally you can kind of be fooled by your senses when you're riding sometimes, and it's good to remember some of the physics behind the scenes that help you make better decisions as you ride. So, if I remember right, up here before too long, it might actually be up there quite a ways, there's a place to cross. So I think I'll cross, come back down on this road, the opposite side here. Alright, so we found the other side, crossed back about a half mile ago. Since the thing likes to go so much, stopping is still the limiting factor for most things you try to do. If you're paying attention to what you're doing, it's not too hard to keep control of. Straight through mud. Don't try to make corners through mud. Oh yeah, there's this giant covert pipe up here. Maybe that's a cool spot to stop. Yeah, this might be a neat little spot. Check for hobos. Always gotta do that hobo patrol. Ooh, never been up here. Check it out. Well, this is neat. Wow. Go up here a little more. There she goes. All right, we'll check back in here in a minute. I'm gonna get set up. We'll talk about this bike. Okay guys, welcome back. Just took a minute to kind of get situated here. Beautiful place. Show you some of the place we came from here. Get an idea where we came from. So we came up by those covert pipes. Yeah, neat little slice of nowhere out here. But we're here to talk about this thing. So, originally I thought I was after a 790, a KTM 790. Did a lot of looking. My other bike is a XR 650L, which I've put up some content on that too. And man, I love that thing so much, but it just doesn't quite get me distance. And I kind of ran out of stuff to ride around home. I wanted to show you these headlights too. Of course, the frequency of the phone camera relative to whatever these LEDs are running at makes things kind of tough to see on the video. But anyway, I was originally going for a 790 or something similar. And then I just kind of stumbled on this. And the more I looked at it, the more it grew on me. I think it's a beautiful motorcycle. And long story short, I searched, this was March, I think, 2021, so a little over a year ago. And I searched for a couple weeks, finding basically nothing. This is the 2020 model. I was searching for it, the next model year had already come out. This is the base model, so it's the cheapest one, and a lot of guys had already picked these up. Well, I found one across the state and called them, reserved it, and then I went and picked it up. Boy, the test ride after, 3 years with the 650, you just forget what kind of power 100 horsepower is. And thinking about taking it off-road was kind of nerve-wracking up front. But, we figured it out. So, there you go. That's kind of the overview there. We could talk a little more about specs, but I'm not much of a spec guy. I like to know how it feels when you ride it. So, yeah. We'll cut to talking about some of the additions to the bike here in a sec. All right, so starting at the top here. I ended up getting the taller windscreen. The one that this thing comes with is a little stubby guy here. The tall windscreen kit, Honda OEM, and it came with this little sunshade stick-on, plastic trim piece. Pretty happy with it. It doesn't add any extra vibration or anything. It's made to work with this bike. So, yeah, I would buy again. Next thing we got here, this is the newest edition. This is the Sparkbuster handguards. They're unfortunately custom made, just for this bike so you don't run into the cabling and such. But overall, those have been nice too. Only had like 100 miles on those so far. One of the first things I did was upgrade to the stock heated grips. My road bike before this was a Concourse, Kawasaki Concourse, and boy, I got spoiled with those heated grips. So I knew that was something I wanted to do right off the bat. So yeah, definitely well worth the Honda OEM. I might turn the bike on here and just kind of show you how those are operated, but there's no switch or anything on these. They're nice and clean. And then when it comes to turning them on and off, you can use the actual bike's controls that are already on the handlebars. So that's kind of nice. Absolutely love the electronics package on this thing. Little goofy with the traction control and wheelie control, as you probably saw on the way up this hill. I think that was wheelie control since I already had traction control off. Definitely still figuring some of that out. But yeah, the next thing here would be this track form, I think it's called. Tack form. This is like a little spring-loaded, low-profile aluminum phone mount. And this thing is mounted to a 1-inch ram mount ball mount right in the middle there. I would never buy another ram or another brand of mount because the ram mount is rock solid. So yeah, for what it's worth. Next thing here, got one of these Chase Harper tail bags. It's really nothing special. I kind of wish it had some sort of a rigid interior to hold its shape. And I devised a way to mount it down here, but I still am not 100% confident in that when it's loaded up with stuff. So I always strap it with one of these adjustable like bungee straps. Overall, it's pretty sweet because the side pouch here, sorry, this whole side pouch comes out like 8 inches on both sides. So, you know, you can end up putting something probably close to 2 feet wide in there without any big issues. Next up would be this Corbin seat. Yeah, I did a 1,000-mile moto trip last year. I made a video about it. You should check it out. But after that ride, man, I was numb. That sucked. So rather than just throw in the towel, I figured may as well go big or go home. This is actually it's like the promoted seat by Corbin. They offer a ton of customization. You know, you can get like different color stitching in here, different color beads. I can't remember what they call these. But in the end, I really liked the way they had it set up, and obviously the red matches nicely with the rest of the bike here. So I ended up going with the one that they show on the product page. Next would be, unfortunately, the rear rack here, the silver aluminum cast rack. That thing is expensive, straight from Honda, but required in order to fit any kind of plate on the back that I was happy with. So that brings me to the brand that kind of fills out the rest of these accessories and stuff. This plate, these pannier racks, the lower crash bars, the skid plate. Those are all by SW Motec, and would buy again. Man, those things are rock solid. I'm 6'5", 300 pounds, and this thing, I feel like I could go down and pick the bike right back up and not worry too much. One thing I noticed when I was watching videos before I ever purchased this thing was the side casing is exposed pretty good, and other brands don't necessarily have this. Let's see if I can even show you what I'm looking at. This plate down here protects that side casing, and that's a nice peace of mind when it comes down to it being way out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, we've got the lower crash bars, we've got the pannier racks, which I'll come around this side here, talk a little more about that, but the pannier racks are pretty nice. I've got the Kriega, I can't remember the size of these soft bags now, but the soft luggage Kriega bags, they look great on this thing. Maybe I'll throw up a picture. And I'm not scared to go down in them because, you know, they're rip proof basically. They have an internal liner that's removable and waterproof. So if you do rip a hole in the bag, chances of ripping the liner are pretty low, and you can carry on without too much hassle. Obviously that rear tire's not stock. And then this guy here is a 1 gallon water mounted with a Rotopax. Well, it's a Rotopax water canister basically, but a little 1 gallon auxiliary water tank. Got the pannier racks that are symmetric instead of, they offer one where the left side is brought in basically the width of that water canister. And I just figured with the exhaust on one side and the water on the other, with my bags on the outside of that was a pretty good setup. See if I can't show you some of the electronic goodies. Oh, there's one other thing. I think I'm hitting just about everything, but the only thing you can't really see right here is this this center stand. There we go. Sorry, I'm terrible at camera angles here. Center stand. That's also an SW Motec piece of kit. Haven't really used it much. That's a fairly new piece, new addition. Also on the kickstand, can't really see it very well, but I've got one of these, basically like a camel toe bottom plate, but it's just an off-brand. Cost me like 12 bucks. And man, if I had to be real nitpicky about this bike, my phone just warned me that it's getting too hot. If I had to be real picky about this bike and list a few things that I wish Honda would change, I have to be real nitpicky, but one of them is the way the stock kickstand, this bike has a hell of a lean angle. I'd say it's probably 20 degrees. Comparing that to my 650L is like 10 degrees. But with this thing being so heavy, that 20 degrees kills it. You almost feel like it's going to flip over on the kickstand side. Of course, it never has, and I'm sure they've tested a bunch of that stuff. But yeah, that just seems kind of lame. So you can tell here, she's parked on a pretty good slope and still leaning uphill. So I have no idea if that was intentional or if that was kind of a minor oversight. The thickness of that plate at the bottom helps a little bit under that kickstand, but yeah, I would consider, if I were Honda, I'd consider revising that. And beyond that, it would be nice if you could rename your user ride modes and remember the traction control, wheelie control settings for those ride modes. But I get it, you know, there's safety concerns about handing the bike off to somebody. They don't know what it's doing and they play it a little bit fast and loose and go down. So yeah, it is what it is. You got to be safe too. Overall, I think I pretty much covered it. My phone's overheating, so I suppose I'll catch you later. We might do a little more riding here, so stay tuned. All right, I figured I'd also touch on a few of the TBD upgrades to this thing. One of the ones that I'm looking at is the front fender raise kit, where the fender basically comes up and it mounts to the bottom of this plate here and comes out more like a dirt bike look. I'm not sure on that yet because I really don't mind the way this thing appears, but that's definitely something in the head. We also got a new front tire that matches the rear there for this trip coming up, but haven't had the chance to install it. Beyond that, she's pretty well set up, but I wanted to show you. So here we are, you know, user modes. As I said, the traction control and wheelie control reset to their lowest but active setting, and to turn them off, you got to go in there and hold buttons and stuff. But this is how you turn on the heated grips. Right now, I think they're on like level 2. There's a function button right here, little lever that you pull. So you pull that, and on the screen there, your level pops up. It'll go away here in a sec. But when I pull that again, then on this other side with this, I can adjust the level. I'm gonna turn them off since it's off right now, and I don't want to just superheat them. But overall, that's pretty usable, and you can turn them on and off real quickly. This function button also cycles over to your volume, so I ride with a Bluetooth unit and Android Auto typically. So yeah, this is how I can switch between changing level of heated grips and volume level. All right, I think that does it. Let me know in the comments if this is something you like, or if you'd rather just see riding. I'm more comfortable just riding, but I think this is cool and I like to share stuff. So yeah, let me know what you think. Later. Okay, we're at the bottom of that hill. I wanted to try it again with the wheelie control off and see if that was what was cutting my power halfway up this hill. Seems like a pretty important thing not to do. Yeah, that's what it was. It's totally what it was. Of course, now I've got all sorts of power. ABS uphill because I needed to slow down up that hill. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what people like and don't like, but to me, especially if you know how to ride, having extra junk between you and the ground is a waste. For off-road. That said, the on-road ABS and stuff, you can see how steep that is, triggered wheelie control. Yeah, the on-road stuff is fantastic. A little patch of sand or gravel, if you're giving it hell, that thing can come out from under you way before you expect it to, if you're doing more than 20. But off-road, you know, you're not usually hauling when you hit that kind of thing. And I prefer to feel the slip through the brakes and through the power. You can tell when it's power sliding, you know. We pretty much covered everything that there is, for me at least at this point. Boys and their toys, I suppose. Definitely not needed. I'm gonna check out this direction. Hang out if you want, and if not, click on another one of my videos. That's right. This is definitely some loose gravel here. Gotta be careful. Third, it just kicks out, no problem. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. I think this is the end of the video, but I appreciate your time, and if you care to, maybe check out some of these videos up here. And yeah, be continued, I suppose. Keep an eye out for this upcoming moto trip I've got. That should be, I don't know, I'm doing it 4th of July week, but I probably won't post anything for a week or two after that. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys.